Welcome back and let's start. Can you please confirm me, am I audible to you? Can you please confirm me, am I audible
Yes,
to you?
yes, sir.
So now let us discuss about the next concept. So here, what I'm going to show you today is, so up to the last class, we discussed about the uh, Terraform introduction. Okay, Terraform, Docker, Kubernetes introduction. Today, I will tell you what are the necessary software that you need to install. So for example, we need to create the, or else we need to work with the Terraform. So if I want to work with the Terraform, what are the required softwares? Okay, that we will see today. So now first things first, what is my requirement over here is, first I will install the necessary softwares like I want the AWS CLI to be installed. Okay, AWS CLI install Windows. Why? Because whenever we are working with the AWS credentials, why we need to work with the AWS credentials in the sense? For example, first let us install that. I will explain you. Simply go to the Windows and copy this command and go to PowerShell. The PowerShell, what you can do here is you can execute this command. So when you execute this command, AWS CLI will be installed on our Windows operating system. So once this is installed on our Windows operating system, once this configuration is executed or if the application is installed, then see here, what is my current requirement here is. It's not taking, one second, yes. Small issue. Just give me a second. Okay. I hope I'm clearly audible to you. Right. So now what we are going to do here is, see, I have a computer. So in this computer, I will write the Terraform code. So when I write the Terraform code inside this computer, so from this computer, what is my requirement? I want to access the AWS account. My AWS account, I want to access it. How I can access my AWS account? To access this AWS account, I need to have the access key ID and secret access key. For that, what is required here is we need to install the AWS CLI. So in my computer, I need to have the AWS CLI to log in as that particular user. So here in AWS account, what I will do, just like in if you want to access Gmail, okay, mails through Google account. So you need to have a Gmail account. So with that Gmail account, what you can do, where you will create the Gmail account in the Google. So with that Gmail account, you will be able to log in into your Gmail, and as well as you will be able to log in into your Google Drive. There are so many applications are there. In the same manner, in my AWS account, I'm going to create a IAM user. Okay, I'm going to create an IAM user, and this IAM user is responsible. This IAM user is responsible for having, or else this through this IAM user, I will be logging into my computer. Okay, here I will be logging. Once I logged into this computer, so whenever I fire a command, so the command will be executed with the help of AWS client, and it will try to execute this in my AWS account. If I want to create a VPC, or else if I want to create the EC2 instances, everything will be handled by the AWS CLI only. That's why we have created the AWS CLI, AWS client or else AWS command line. So if you see here, what I can do here is I can go for uh, simply what I can do, AWS hyphen hyphen version. When I do this, as we have the AWS CLI installed, it is going to show the AWS version for us. And the second thing is, once we have installed this AWS CLI, okay, this is good. Next one is, we need to install the Terraform. So how I can install Terraform? Terraform.io, download the binary. Okay, download the binary for Windows. So once you have downloaded this binary, now what is going to happen? Here you can see, this is the Terraform 1.14.9 binary has been downloaded. You need to extract this. Okay, extract all. Done. Once the extraction is completed, here you can see you have the Terraform application is there. So copy this application, go to this PC, and here what you can do is you can create a folder called as tools. I'm going to create a folder called as tools. Either in C drive also you can create that. Okay, C drive, D drive, anywhere. Now copy the path. Okay, once you have copied the path, go to the system properties, sysdm.cpl. So if you go to the system properties, what you can see here is, here you can see environmental variables will be there. So select the environmental variables, edit the, or else edit the path. The path, what I will do, I will give that path where my Terraform binary is stored. So once I have given that particular path, then what will happen here is, so if I go to PowerShell, here Terraform version. When I do this command, so it is going to show us the Terraform, current Terraform version is version 1.14.9. So we have successfully installed the Terraform. Not only Terraform, there is one more tool that is required for us, that is Visual Studio Code. Okay, Visual Studio Code, install Windows, and simply download Visual Studio Code for my Windows system installer. So Visual Studio Code will be downloaded. Once it is downloaded, then we are going to install that Visual Studio Code in my computer. Okay, and not only that, I will try to install the Git also. Download git-scm. Okay, Git install on the Windows operating system. I want to install it. Select Git Windows 64 and download it. So Git is also downloaded and it will be installed on my system. So that's it. So this is how we can install Git on my system. Before installing the Git, what I will do here is, first of all, I will install the Visual Studio Code and then I will come back to the Git. Okay, here you can see the Visual Studio Code has been downloaded. Then, okay, next, and install. That's it. So now we have the Visual Studio Code installed on our computer. Now the next one is, once it is installed, then we are going to install a Git also. So these are the tools that I am going to install on our computer. So for that, for Terraform execution, we are going to do this. So hold on. One more thing that I just want to remember you, that this is the last demo for your, this is the last demo. So whoever are interested to join to the course, you can join to the course. The course timing will be 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. and course duration will be 40 sessions. What else? Yeah, you will be getting the documents plus videos every day. And finally, the prerequisite is that you need to have the basic understanding about AWS. These are the basic requirements. Okay, so here you can see the Visual Studio Code got installed. So once the Visual Studio Code got installed, then what I can do is, I can go ahead for installing the Git. I will be installing the Git on my computer. Next, next, next. The default editor for Git is Visual Studio Code. Next, 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 and install. That's it. So we have installed the Git on our computer also. Okay. Now the next thing is, once it is installed, first we will write the code over here. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Okay. Terraform, Docker, Jenkins, 6 p.m. Okay. I'll read my code. This is for my Terraform. Okay. So here I can create one more folder. Create that folder also. Terraform basics. Terraform. Hmm. So this is how the Visual Studio Code will be open. Now what I want to do here is I want to install some extensions. This Terraform, what I want to do here is I want to install some extensions. What are those? Terraform. Okay. Terraform extension I want to install. And the second Terraform extension also install. Both the extension. Ashikop and Anton. So Kuliko. So these two authors are there. No? So install these two extensions. Now what I want to do, I want to write my first code. So here the name of the file is provider.tf. So here it is not mandatory to have the name of the file like this only. So you can have any name. Okay, depending on your company naming, uh, what I can say naming convention, you can provide any name. Provider.tf, main.tf, any name you can give that. So what is provider.tf means? The infrastructure, okay, or else the cloud which is providing the infrastructure to us. So that is the provider.tf. So here what I can do, provider AWS. For me, the provider will be the, so where we are going to create the infrastructure. In the AWS environment, we are creating the infrastructure. So provider will be AWS. Okay. And then in AWS, what we will have here is we will have a region. What is a region? Region is nothing but a geographical location. Across the world, in a particular location, you are having the multiple AWS data center. So that's called as a region. A geographical location in across the world, across the globe is called as a region. Like North Virginia region, Ohio region. If you come to India, so Mumbai is one of the AWS region. Hyderabad is one of the AWS region. If you see in UK, London is one of the region. Frankfurt is one of the region. So like that, there are different regions that are available across the world. So among those regions, you have to select one of the region. So here I am selecting AP hyphen South hyphen 2. AP South 2 means Hyderabad region. So this is the region code for Hyderabad. So if you see, I log in into my AWS account. AWS.amas.go. Sign into the console. Here I will log in into my root account. That is Polaris TechWorks AWS at gmail.com. Password and the multi-factor authentication. Just a second. Authentication is getting Polaris TechWorks AWS at gmail.com. Correct one. One second. Now we logged into my AWS account. In this AWS account, what I can do here is, so once we have logged into this AWS account, now here, what is my requirement? So I am talking about the regions. So here you can see. These are the several regions that are available. North Virginia. So this is the region code. Ohio, US East 2 is the region code. And as well as if you see Hyderabad, AP South 2 is the region code. So here in which region we want to create the infrastructure. I want to create the infrastructure in Hyderabad location. So that's why I have given the region as AP South 2. If you want to create another region, if you want to create your infrastructure in another region, you can give that particular region code. So if you are having the AWS account, okay, please create an AWS account. So AWS account is very crucial for the practicals. Don't ignore it. Okay, so if you are having the old account, then that is well and good. If you don't have an account, please try to create that account now. Okay. So .tf is the extension for Terraform. So now here we have provided the AWS and the region we just given. Okay. And the next one is what I want to do here is on the next step. So I want to create something. Okay. Before I create something, here you can see AWS provider is there. So there will be several AWS versions are available. So whenever the resources are getting upgraded, every time the Terraform AWS versions will be increasing. For example, if you see Terraform provider AWS version, you go to the Terraform registry. So the latest version is 6.42.0, which is released on April 22nd. Previously, we used to have 6.38 at that, but whenever before for the before batch, when I'm saying it is 6.38 only. But right now, the latest version is 6.42. So why the 6.42? If you see the documentation, the 6.42 is having 1639 resources. Total AWS resources in EC2, AWS organizations, whatever the different services that AWS is having. In all the AWS services, we are having 1639 resources in the AWS version 6.42.0 and 658 data sources. What is this data sources? We'll come to know in the upcoming session. And if you see, if I go back to 6.38.0, if you see here, 1621 resources are there. So when you see 6.38.0, the total number of resources, in the sense in EC2. So these are all the resources, instances, AMIs, volumes, snapshots. These are all comes under the resources, load balancers, application load balancer, network load balancer. These are all comes under the resources. So like that, total number of resources in 6.38 point version is 1621 resources are there. But when you go back to the version 6.42.0, it is 1639 resources, which means that nearly equivalent to some 18 resources are increased. Okay. So which means this is the updated version. So I don't want this updated version. I want to go with the old version itself. So the version that starts with 6 greater than 6, I want to go with that version. Then what you can do here is Terraform provider, Terraform provider AWS. If you search for this, here you can see, or else where is the Hashikop? Terraform AWS provider. I can do like this. So like this, you can give Terraform required provider if you want to change the version. So if you want to go with the updated version, you don't need to provide this block. You don't need to provide this block. In this block, what it is saying here is required provider is AWS, and that version is greater than or equal to 6.0. So the version which we are taking for AWS is greater than or equal to 6.0. If you are interested, you can go with that version. No, I want to go with the updated version. I want to have all the updated resources like 6.42 resources. Then you don't need to provide this block. That totally depend on your company requirement and as well as your infrastructure developer requirement. So the cloud architect will be there. So he will be saying, I want this version of AWS to be there so that I can have all my resources required. So in some versions, few resources will be deleted. Okay, in some versions, new resources will be added. So whatever the deleted resources are there, no? So those resources might be required by my for my project. So I have to use the previous version only. If you want to use the deleted version, right now the latest updated version is having all the updated resources. Not only that, whatever the outdated resources are there, they are going to remove those resources. Sometimes for your Terraform infrastructure, those resources are required. Then we cannot go with the updated version. I have to go to the old version itself. So when you want to go with the old version, here you have to provide this Terraform block. Otherwise, if you want to go with the updated version, you can simply remove this Terraform block and you can execute the code. Okay. So now do you understand when we have to use the resources, when we don't need to, I mean, when we have to use the uh, Terraform versions, provider versions, and when we don't need to use them. Okay, I hope you understand this. So then what we have to do here is, when I go back here I will go for Terraform initialization. What is meant by Terraform initialization in the sense? See, we are writing the code. We know that we are writing the code for AWS, creating the resources in the AWS environment. That is good. But how we are going to, I mean, how AWS knows that the user want to create this particular resource? User want to create this particular resource. How you can come to know? So for that, we need to initialize the Terraform. So when I initialize the Terraform, plugins will be installed. Whatever the AWS resource related plugins are there, all the plugins will be downloaded into my computer and those plugins will be installed. So whenever I want to create the VPC, Terraform look for the VPC plugin and through that VPC plugin, it will call the VPC and create the VPC in AWS. If I want subnet to be created, subnet related plugins will be there. So it will communicate with the subnet plugin and talk to the AWS account and creates the subnets. So like that, the plugins will be installed. So here you can see initializing the backend, initializing the provider plugins. So it is installing the AWS plugins and the latest version, 6.42.0 version is getting installed. Okay, so now what is Terraform? From the previous two sessions onwards, we are talking that Terraform means infrastructure as a code. So if I want to create an infrastructure, so then we need to have the Terraform. Okay, so that's why see here Terraform has been successfully initiated. And here you can see .terraform folder has been created. Previously, this folder will not be there. So if you see, that particular folder is not there previously. But now when we initialize the Terraform, then automatically .terraform folder has been created. So inside this only, you will have the plugins. You cannot see them, but you will have all the plugins inside this .terraform directory only. Right. So the next one is I want to create a VPC. So simply I can give vpc.tf or else you can go with main.tf. Anything you can give main.tf. Now I want to create a resource. What is the resource I want to create? AWS underscore VPC. And what is the name of that particular resource or label of that particular resource? Demo VPC. See, before I go into the concept, if you go to a shopping mall, if you go to a shopping mall, in the shopping mall, you will be having you want to purchase a shirt, trouser, or else anything, any shopping you went for that shopping. So if you want to purchase some item, so what you are going to do? So you will not blindly purchase it, no? So first of all, what you will be doing here, hmm, when you go to the shopping complex, what you will do in the beginning? You want to purchase a shirt. So how you will purchase it? Hmm. Yes, it's
Look
not a
for the
technical.
available shops.
Not available shops. I said you went to a shopping mall. You are inside the shopping mall and you want to purchase a shirt or else any cloth. So what you are going to do?
We go by the size.
You will look after the tags, labels,
Yeah,
right? In
yeah.
the label, what you will have? You will have the information about the fabric. You will have the information about the size. You will have the information about the price. You will have the information about the manufacturer. Okay. If it is Raymond's, Peter England, or else Arrow. So who is the manufacturer? All these names will be there. So in the same manner, here, here you will be having the label. So this is the label of that particular resource. It is not the name of the resource. Actually, we will provide the name of the resource below. See, if you go to the shopping mall, there will be several brands of shirts will be there, several brands of trousers will be there, several brands of dress materials will be there. So on every dress material, you will have a label. That doesn't mean that that is the name of that particular cloth, right? So for that cloth, there will be a brand. So that will become as a name. So in the same manner, this is the label for whatever the resource that we are creating. So that under this label, we will have the information about that particular resource. Okay. So I will show you. So I want to provide the CIDR block for my VPC. That is 192.168.0.0/16. Enable DNS hostnames is equal to true. And tags is equal to, here we are providing the name tag. Name that is equal to, uh, what I can say, cloud group VPC. So this is the name of that particular VPC. Cloud group is the name of the VPC. But whatever you are seeing, this is the label for this VPC. So if I want to create one more VPC, what I can do here, I will change the label for that VPC, demo VPC1 or demo VPC2. And the cider block will be 172.16.0.0. And the name of this particular VPC is somewhere like I can go with Polaris. I'm going to give like this. Okay. So now when I go for the VPC creation, if I want to create this VPC, then how I can create this VPC? First thing is that we need to format that particular VPC. Formatting the document. What is meant by formatting? Here you can see the equal to symbols. They are in zigzag manner. So now what I can do here is I will open a terminal over here so that I can show you here itself. So if you see this particular resource is there now. So if I go for Terraform FMT, okay, Terraform FMT means formatting, arranging everything in a sequential order. So here you can look at this particular code. What is going to happen? You will say, so when I go for Terraform FMT, look at that. Now the indentation is exactly under equal to you are having the proper indentation is there. So that is what we call it as Terraform FMT. Okay. And the next thing is once we have formatted that, then we are going to validate the code. So how we can validate the code? Terraform validate. When I give this command, it is going to check whether whatever the code that we have written is it correct or not. So this is the main advantage with Terraform. So in general, for any languages, if you want to write the code, then what will happen? Directly compiling and execution will be there. Here it is not like that. So whenever you want to execute anything, first of all, error checking will be there. After doing the bugs, after checking the bugs, that is validation, then it will go for Terraform plan. So Terraform plan means it's a dry run kind of thing. Before we create the resources, Terraform is going to plan for that particular resources. Which resources will be created? What is the CIDR of that particular resource? Everything will be given for us like a blueprint. It will just give a blueprint before we construct a home. How engineers will provide a blueprint for us. In the same manner, here also Terraform is going to provide a blueprint of AWS resources for us. So what are the resources that are going to be created? Here we will be getting an error if I'm not wrong. Yeah. What it is saying, no valid credentials found. So Terraform encountered an error while generating this plan. No valid credentials are found. What is the meaning of no valid credentials? So the no valid credentials means so Terraform want to go inside the AWS, and then it wants to create the infrastructure over here. When it wants to create the infrastructure inside that, first of all, it should have the permission to create the resources. So how this particular computer will get the permissions means in AWS, we are going to create the user. If I go to IAM, yesterday also we have done the same thing. I'm just showing you. So here you can see roles IAM users. So here I'm going to create an IAM user. Already we have several users out there. Let us create them. Okay, let us create the user. So we already have the infra user is there. Now what I can do, I can create the security credentials. So I'm going to create access key and secret access key for my command line interface. Create access key. So this is the access key and secret access key for my user. Okay. So then what I can do here is, let me copy this access key. I'll go back to my command line, AWS configure. Yeah. Provide the access key over here, secret access key. And the region is AP-south-2. These are the default regions. And the output will be in the JSON format. Done. So now if you go for Terraform plan, it will try to create a plan for us. This time there won't be any problem. There you go. So two VPCs are getting created. Two VPCs are getting created. So if I go for Terraform apply auto approve, then the resource creation will be done. So if you see in AP South 2, we have two resources is created. Two VPCs are created. VPC. Okay. So here you can see we have the VPCs. There you go. This is in North Virginia region. I will go to Hyderabad region. In Hyderabad region, we have the cloud group VPC got created, and as well as here you can see Polaris VPC is also created. What is the CIDR block of that? So for both the VPCs, here you can see 192.168.0.0, 172.16.0.0. So whatever the VPC that got created, so here you can clearly see that. So once these VPCs are created, now one thing that you need to understand, here you can see we have the Terraform state file. I said you yesterday, what I said you, Terraform is idempotent. What is meant by idempotency means whenever we create a resource, the resource related information will be stored inside the state file. So here the resource related information will be stored. See what we have done, we created a VPC. So what is the label for that VPC? Demo VPC. What is the ID of that VPC? So on the tag, what you are having, everything related to that particular resource is shown over here. ID of this VPC is this. And then what is the name of the VPC? And then what is the where it is created? And then CIDR block of VPC. So everything you are able to see over here. And the second VPC related information also will be there. So demo VPC2, this is the CIDR block of that VPC. And then here you can see the name of the VPC is Polaris. Like that, you will be having the complete information about the resources that are getting created. Okay. So this is about your Terraform state file. State file is very crucial. If you lost that state file, Terraform will be in a confusion state, whether the resource is created or not. So that will not be known by your Terraform. For example, already the resources are created, no? So if I go for again Terraform plan means what it is going to say, it will say that no need to create any infrastructure. Already the infrastructure is created. How it is saying? Because it is checking the state file. Whether the resources, whatever the user is saying, is already there in the Terraform state file or not. So here you can see the resources are available. As the resources are available, so Terraform is saying that no need to create any infrastructure. So the infrastructure is already created as per the code. So the duplications will not happen. But unfortunately, if you miss this Terraform file, if you miss the Terraform file or Terraform code state file, then what will happen here? Sorry. If I go for Terraform plan means there is no state recorded. There is no information about the resources. So it will try to create the duplicate resources. So which one is very important for you in the Terraform means Terraform state file is very crucial. If you miss the state file, the infrastructure will come into a confusion state. So that much important is the state file is all about. Okay. So this is the basic introduction about the Terraform and what are the applications that you need to install in your computer for our demos and as well as for our practicals. So tomorrow in the sense, from Monday onwards, we will be connecting at 6 o'clock and we will be discussing completely about Terraform related configurations, how these resources can be created, what are the things that are included over here, everything we will be discussing over. Any questions related to the today's topic? Any questions? Open for you all. You can ask me the questions. Questions, please. No questions. Okay. I ask you a question. What is the CIDR block? If you don't have a question, I have a question. What is the
Yeah,
CIDR block?
from this is a sub from this only like this IP allocation will
Classless inter-domain routing.
hello.
What is? Yeah.
Yeah, like
I'm able.
from this only like we will get the IP ranges or
So this is the network range. Okay.
yeah.
What is the /16 means?
Like
What is /16?
this is like a subnet type.
Okay. So I will just give you a basic introduction. Okay. See, don't say without knowing. Okay. Don't say that I understood. But if you have the knowledge, that is well and good. Don't have any problem with that. If you don't have a knowledge, don't say that I know about this. Okay. The first one is CIDR block. Before I go into the CIDR block, for example, you have two or more computers in your environment. In your company environment, you are having multiple computers are there. Okay. So computer 1, computer 2, computer 3. Like this, you will be having so many computers are there. So all these computers will come under a network. Okay, your company network. So when they comes under your company network, then this company network will have a network ID. For example, if I have to define you in another manner, there are 8 students who are attending to the AWS sessions, and there are 8 students who are attending for the Azure sessions. There are a few more students who are attending to the DevOps sessions. Now all are the students only, but they belongs to the different classes. Okay, here also the same thing will happen. Okay, so whenever you have the computers, all these computers belongs to a single network. But when you go to an another office, there is another network. So that network will be defined with the help of this IP address and the subnet mask. So what are very important in the networking means IP address and subnet mask. These are very important. So if you see, IP address will be a 32-bit address, and this 32-bit address is divided into 4 octets. 4 octets. So oct means 8. So in each octet, each portion, there will be 8 bits. Okay. In each portion, there are 8 bits. So total 4 portions will be there. And these portions are called as octets. So if you see in general, the IP address will be looking like this: 192, 168, some 100 dot, some 150. So I'm just giving like this. So these are the decimal numbers. Okay, the third class mathematics. Decimal numbers: 192, 168, 100, and 150 are the decimal numbers. Now, actually, humans will understand the decimal numbers, but when you come to the computers or else any networking devices, they won't understand the decimal numbers. You'll understand only the binary numbers. What are binary numbers? Ones and zero combination is called as a binary number. So here, what we are doing is we are going to convert this decimal to binary conversion. If I give 192 over here, what is the number that we are getting? What is the binary number that we are getting? So this is the binary number, 1160. Okay, this is the binary number format. So like that, 8 bits are there. Okay, 168 will also have the 8 bits. If I go back here and give 168, you will be having 10101 000. So these are the 8 bits that you are having. This is the conversion of your 168. So like that, so every decimal number will be converted into the binary number format. Okay, so this IP address, to represent the IP address, we will be having a subnet mask. What is this subnet mask? What is the functionality of the subnet mask? See, in the IP address, there are 2 portions will be there. One is the network portion, and the other one is the host portion. What is this network portion and host portion is? Let me give a small example. So there is a student ID is there. The student ID is AWS B1 03. AWS B1. There is another student, and the ID is AWS B1 04. Now, in these two enrollment IDs, the two enrollment IDs or roll numbers, what is defining? This roll number is defined. So something is defined in this roll number, no? What you are able to identify in this roll number, in these two roll numbers. Or else I can give it like this also. AWS B206. Okay. Among these three roll numbers, what you are able to find out? Can you please tell me? Tell me in a general knowledge. Sorry, I think the network got disconnected. Again, my question is, if you see these two roll numbers, what did you understand? That's my question. AWS B103, AWS B104, AWS B206. So if you are having these three roll numbers, what you are able to find out by looking into them? Hmm. Come on, guys. Just forget about networking. I'm talking about this particular roll numbers. If you are having these roll numbers, what you are able to understand by looking into this roll numbers, enrollment numbers, what you are able to identify.
One roll number is having B1 and other is having B2, and then 3,
Hmm.
4, 6 number
What
different.
are those 3, 4, 6? See, I can easily say that there are three roll numbers. I am able to see three roll numbers. Among the three roll numbers, two persons belongs to B1 batch, one person belongs to B2 batch, and the person who belongs to B1 batch is having the identification as 0304, and the person who belongs to B2 batch is having his identification of 06, which means that the B1 batch students enrollment numbers are 3 and 4. B2 batch student enrollment number is 6. So that I can say, which means that here it is clearly mentioning the batch name and the student ID. Batch name and student ID. So in the same manner, for example, there is a IP address is like this 192.168.100.20 is there, and 192.168 dot some 150 dot some 40 is there. By looking into this, can you tell me what is the network portion, what is the host portion? I mean, network portion in the sense, just like the classroom, for every computer network, there will be a network ID. Okay, in this particular network, these computers belongs to. That is called as a network identity. Okay, so there are some 10 computers are there. All these 10 computers belongs in this particular network. So that's called as a network ID. And for every computer, there will be a separate identification, just like how students are having. AWS B1 is the network of the students. So some 10 students are there in the B1 batch. So all 10 students will have AWS B1 is common. But what is unique? The roll number which is provided for them is unique in that particular batch. So B101, B202, B203, B104, like that you will be having. The unique roll numbers will be there. In the same manner, here also by looking into the IP address, can you tell me which portion of IP belongs to the network and which portion of IP belongs to the host? Host means the device identity. So it is not possible for us to tell that. So for that reason, we are using a concept called as subnet mask.
Yeah,
What
16 subnet.
subnet mask we will be using? What is the functionality of the subnet mask is? It will tell which portion of the IP address belongs to network and which portion of IP address belongs to the host. How subnet mask will be looking like? Subnet mask is also a 32-bit address. It is also a 32-bit address which will be used to identify identify the network and host portion of IP address. Host portion of IP address. Okay. So if you see, that will be 255.0.0.0. This is the subnet mask. What is this 255? So in networking, the least number is 0 and the highest number will be 255. Why least number will be 0 means you will get 8 zeros. 255 means 8 ones will be there. So if you want to get 256 number in an octet, so I showed in an octet you will have maximum 8 binary digits only. If you want to get 256 number, that will become the 9th binary digit. 9 binary digit will not be there in the IP address. So definitely the highest number in the IP addressing is 255 only. Okay. So now how this 255 will be represented? 255 will be represented as all ones. So now when it is representing all ones, in networking, there is a definition that is ones in subnet mask represent network portion, network, and 0 represents host. Host means device ID. Device ID. Okay. Right. So now, for example, if I give here 255.0.0.0 means the meaning is the wherever you are having 255, if you convert 255 into ones, then this is called as your network portion. The first portion in the IP address is the network portion. And when you come down here, again, when you provide 255.0.0.0, then depending on the subnet mask, we can easily say that the first portion of the IP address is the network portion. So in these two IPs, the first network portion is common. Okay, the network portion is common. So that's why they belongs to the same network. Okay. And the slash value is how many number of network bits are there. If you convert this 255 into binary number format, how many numbers of ones you are going to get? How many number of ones you are going to get? 8 ones. So that's why the slash value is /8. Now, if I give the IP subnet mask as 255.255.255.255 here, then here you can see total how many network bits are there. So if you see, the subnet mask is saying that the first two portions, wherever you are having this 255, if you convert the 255 into binary number format, all ones will be coming. All ones means network portion. So here 192 is the network portion, 168 is also network portion. So the first two portions are the network portions. Here also the first two portions are the network portions. Both are same. As both are same, then these two computers belongs to the same network. And the slash value will become 255. 255 means 8 plus 8. What is the slash value? Slash 16. Okay, right. And the next one is, if I go back to another way, here it will be 255. Now you tell me what is the subnet mask is going to represent. What is the subnet mask will be representing? 255, 255, 255.0
8.
means. Okay.
Sorry, 24.
So 24 is fine. But here in the IP address, how many network portions are there? How many network octets are there? In the IP address, how many network octets are there?
Like available IPs or
I'm asking about the network octets. So total there are 3 network octets in the IP address. So here 255, 255, 255. So it will say that the 3 octets are the network octets of the IP address. So here also the first 3 octets are the network octets. So if you see 192.168 is okay. In both the IP addresses, 192.168 is okay. But if you see the third octet, here you are having 100 and here you are having 150, which means that the third octet numbers are different. So that's why these two computers belongs to a different network. Okay. So I will give you a small example, I think question for you. You tell me this. For example, I will give 172.16.92.87 or 88, anything you can give, /16 and 172.17.98.78/16. Can you tell me whether these two IPs belongs to the same network or different network?
It's a different.
Mhm. Okay. When you are saying different, why it is different? What is that subnet mask of this particular two IP addresses? The subnet mask will be 255.255.0.0, 255.255.0.0. So now what subnet mask is telling to the IP address? The first 2 octets are the network octets, and the next 2 octets are the host octets. So the 2 octets are having the same numbers means no. Here 172 is common, but when you come to the 60, here the second octet is 17. So they are different. So that's why they belongs to the different network. Okay. So this is good. So now can you tell me by looking into the subnet mask, how many number of host bits are there? How many number of host bits are there?
65K.
65K is okay. How you got 65K?
Like this 2 power 16.
Yeah. What is 2 power 16 there?
Like now we will have like 65K IPs we can use.
I
Like
understand 65 IPs you can use, but I am asking how you got 65K IPs, 65,000 IPs. That's my question.
like
2 power
2
16
power
is correct.
16. Now like for
What
the
is that?
last two bits we will get like how can I say?
Last two portions you will get 16 bits. So if you see total
Yeah.
number of host bits, okay, that will be 16. So that's why what you are going to get 2 power 16. 2 power 16 means 65,536. Among those, -2. One will be the network ID and the other one will be the broadcast ID. So total usable IPs will be 65,534 IPs will be there. So like that, you are going to get the IP addressing /16 value. So if you see this CIDR block, if I give /16 means how many servers we can create inside this network? 65,000 servers we can create. But to manage them, it is difficult for me. So I will divide them into the subnets. How we are going to divide them and what we are going to do, that we will see in the live sessions. Live sessions in the sense the actual sessions from uh, Monday onwards. Okay. I hope you understand this. Any questions? Questions? Okay then. Have a nice day and we'll meet in the next session. Questions? No questions?